Coming up tonight on Newswatch, the Tompkins County Health Department says they are confident that the newest variant of COVID-19 is present in the county. We take you through the city's recommendation to avoid another outbreak. And 10 years after a hazing death occurred, the Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity is making a return to Cornell University. We hear from students about their return. Plus, wildfires burned thousands of acres of property in 3 major states. Find out which states and hear about the damage later on in the show. All that and more tonight on Newswatch.
Covering Ithaca and all of Tompkins County. From ICTV News, this is Newswatch.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Nanda.
And I'm Ethan Birch. First on 16 tonight, Tompkins County Health Department Frank Kruppa states he is confident the new COVID-19 variant is present in Tompkins County. The new variant, BA2, comes from the same strain as Omicron variant with similar symptoms like fever, cough, and respiratory illness. Associated BA2 symptoms have been linked to some of the more recent positive cases in Tompkins County, leading Kruppa to believe the variant is present. While cases increase in Tompkins County, hospitalizations remain low. The Tompkins County Health Department encourages frequent testing as well as masks to be worn for those who are immunocompromised.
An outbreak of COVID-19 cases has forced Trumansburg Elementary School to close yesterday. Recently, the Trumansburg School District has faced an outbreak of cases among staff with a reported 21 staff members with COVID-19 or COVID-19 symptoms. The superintendent, Kimberly Bell, called the outbreak's impact on the community, quote, chilling, and encouraged students and faculty to begin regular testing. The school has moved to virtual instruction until further notice or cases improve. The victim of the March 20th shooting in downtown Ithaca has died from sustained injuries. Teron Forrest is now the first death from gun violence in Ithaca this year. According to initial police reports, Forrest has been shot several times at 3:00 a.m. on the morning of March 20th. Forrest was considered to be in critical but stable condition as of the following day. The 2 suspects have not yet been identified.
Today is National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day, which honors all small business owners each year on March 29th. We wanted to spotlight a student whose small business is in celebration for the holiday. Reporter Noah Ron Ressler learns how Via's Cookies is changing the community one delicious cookie at a time.
Via has been making cookies since high school when she was campaigning for class president. Ever since, she has been working towards her one perfect recipe.
Like for days, I just was like trying all these different cookie recipes and like I was browning the butter and then I would take something out and I'll add something in. And I like, because it's science, I finally came to like this perfect recipe and my family was all like, whoa, that's good.
Via's cookies are sold online in bulk orders of 2 dozen or more. For individual sale, local businesses are selling her cookies. Ithaca Bakery sells her cookies in their store, and the cookies can also be found at Green Star Food Co-op.
I'm here at the Green Star Co-op on Cascadilla Street, where Via's cookies are being sold. We were previously at the Ithaca Bakery location where they should be sold, but are currently out of stock due to high demand.
But Via's cookies are about more than just cookies. Via uses her platform and profits to uplift and aid students of color and students who identify as LGBTQ+.
And so if I could try and help the people around me, because, you know, it's never too early to help people.
The Ithaca community has been an important part of Via's journey. Without the support of an inclusive and diverse local customer base, she would not be where she is today.
Everyone's like really uplifting and they're just trying to help me get to the next level. And so whenever I like come into struggles with just like finding markets, getting into things, people are really, really accommodating. And I was like, okay, there's no backing down now. I have to do this.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Noah Ron Ressler.
Thank you for the story, Noah. Via's Cookies donated 5% of their profits each month to a person in need. To nominate someone who needs a little extra financial assistance, you can head to her website, viascookies.com. Another small business, Liba Spirits, is opening in the city of Ithaca. The home distillery based in Ithaca is led by Devin Trevathan and Ithaca native Colton Weinstein. The pair hopes to travel the world to craft recipes for liquors based off of the geography and culture of each location they visit. Their products are on sale in the Falls Wine Room on West State Street. They hope to bring a diverse selection of liquor to the Ithaca community. The city's redistricting working group released the draft boundaries, encouraging feedback on the district lines. The working group's proposal still maintains the 5 wards as the populations were all within 5% between districts. Ward 1 contains the most substantial changes, adding more South Side and North Side neighborhoods as well as some of downtown Ithaca. The proposed district seems to have no errors, although Ward 5 separates some of the east side of Lynn Street that cuts into Cornell's student population. There had been talk of districting, adding more wards, but for now, the 5 wards most accurately cover the town of Ithaca.
A Texas death row inmate has a new group of advocates. These advocates are a group of students from Cornell University fighting to raise awareness for Melissa Lucio, the only Latina on Texas death row. Students are highlighting major discrepancies in the evidence of the prosecution and interrogation tactics. One of these tactics includes a 16-hour interrogation by armed officers and a clean history with Child Protective Services. Momentum is building in favor of Melissa, with her case receiving support from Texas lawmakers and the Catholic Conference of Bishops. Cornell University students feel hopeful for the future of the case. Reporter Jeremy Goldstein is in the studio to share another Cornell story that is in the public's eye right now. Jeremy?
That's right, Jay. Sigma Alpha Epsilon shook up the fraternity community at Cornell University after they had a death due to hazing 10 years ago. I talked with 2 students who had strong opinions on the fraternity returning almost a decade later. Since 1891, Sigma Alpha Epsilon has served as a great way for students to get involved in Greek life at Cornell. After a death due to hazing resulted in the fraternity getting removed from the university, SAE will now be reinstated and be free to take in new recruits.
So as someone who's been in a fraternity, I would say that, it's been 10 years. There's everyone who was affiliated with the chapter that was kicked off back then, obviously has since graduated, and they're all pretty far out in terms of their alumni status.
Cornell student Lucas Schiffman says he sees no problem with SAE's return and has trust that they will be much reformed in comparison to what they were a decade ago.
The national organization will send a representative to the campus with usually a pretty large rush budget, which I think is funded partly through nationals, partly through alumni from the university that they're trying to refound the chapter at. And it's sort of up to that representative to build the initial refounding PC.
However, if you ask student Josh Gitman, he doesn't think this is such a great idea.
It's a little bit concerning to me just because there are a lot of other fraternities and organizations at Cornell. It's not like we have a lack of fraternities. So the fact that, a fraternity that was shut down due to a hazing death is coming back is somewhat concerning.
Despite a variety of opinions, Cornell students are now welcome to join the fraternity Sigma Alpha Epsilon after its reinstatement after 1 decade. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Jeremy Goldstein.
Thank you so much for the story, Jeremy. Well, later on this week, ICTV News will be airing a special one-on-one interview with Ithaca College's newest president, Lejeune Terry Cornish. Jordan Broking, host and interviewer for the special, joins us live in studio now. So Jordan, what can we expect from this conversation between you and President Cornish?
Well, we touch on a lot of different issues that are currently plaguing both the college and even her own presidency. As we all know, she was a provost of President Collado's administration, and she did have some say in what was going on, with the main points being the strategic plan and the faculty cuts that happened last year. There's a lot of issues that we focus on, spanning from student-alumni relations, in addition to the actual campus itself, with future renovations and the changing demographics of the college.
And this is her first ever interview she's ever done with ICTV News. What was that experience like for her? What do you think?
Well, in the beginning, she was a little nervous, a little anxious to do it just because she did not know what I was going to ask her, just because I did not provide the questions ahead of time. But later on, as we got into the conversation, she was really more receptive to what we were saying, and we did have a really important discussion.
All right. Thanks, Jordan. Looking forward to it. And again, you can catch the ICTV News interview with President Cornish this Thursday.
And coming up later in the show, we learn about alternative transportation options in Tompkins County. Plus, Nicole Collins has your weather forecast. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Newswatch. Will Smith apologizes following his altercation with Chris Rock at the Oscars. After Rock made a comical joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's alopecia diagnosis, Will Smith charged the stage and struck him across the face on national television. Smith apologized just a day later on Twitter, saying that violence in all forms is destructive and that his actions were unacceptable and inexcusable. Following his act of violence, Will Smith won his first ever Oscar for Best Actor.
The House panel is investigating former President Donald Trump after finding an 8-hour gap of unrecorded phone communication prior to the White House riot that occurred last year. The riot occurred on January 6, 2021, and included around 800 of Trump's supporters. Trump's record of communication have a gap between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. just before the chaos. Investigators are looking for other possible communication between him and other Republican lawmakers, such as a burner phone or other means of communication off the record. Russia claims that it will cut back on their attacks in Ukraine to increase trust between the two countries. After a meeting between the two countries in Turkey, Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu believes that both sides made meaningful progress on some issues. However, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken believes that Russian pullback may be an attempt to distract the public. The U.S. continues to follow what Russia says, but focus more on their actions and the continued invasion of Ukraine.
The conflict between Russia and Ukraine has increased prices on goods such as oil around the world. Reporter Jaden Davis tells us about the way to go.
The recent surge in gas prices has sent rippling effects across the United States and left many individuals searching for new ways to save money with the rising prices. Way to Go is a program through Cornell Cooperative Intensive that hopes to educate people on the number of alternative options available to them in Tompkins County.
Some examples of local resources are the Human Services Coalition 211 Contact Center, which you may have heard about. Trained staff there can help you with all kinds of questions in our community, everything from food to housing to transportation.
One solution that the program promotes is the Ithaca car share service, allowing residents to utilize well-functioning cars without all the extra expenses. Margaret Ellen Gaser explains the program.
To join, you have access to cars that are basically strategically located around the Ithaca area, and you just can use a car when you want to use a car.
According to the American Automobile Association, gas prices per gallon have hit a national high of $4 a gallon. Now that gas prices are the highest they've been since July 2008, some college students have expressed their thoughts on the recent inflation and the alternative services Way to Go offers.
It would normally take about like $20 to fill my gallon, and now it's about $30. So that $10 difference, it's not as much as some other people have had, and then I'm lucky enough that my car doesn't need to get refilled that often.
In addition to the Ithaca car share service, Way to Go also works with the Tompkins County Area Transportation, or TCAT. The TCAT was created by Cornell University, Tompkins County, and the City of Ithaca to serve Tompkins County's offering buses for residents. For more information on transportation updates, ways to save money, and videos on how residents can improve transportation services, visit waytogo.org. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Jaden Davis.
Thank you for the story, Jaden. Winter weathers continue across America as a snow squall occurred in Pennsylvania, causing a 40-car pileup on the highway in Pennsylvania. The pileup led to 3 deaths and over 20 people injured after the collision involving over 50 cars on Monday morning. The collision occurred on Interstate 81, about 100 miles northwest of Philadelphia. Dozens of people were stuck in their car, with over 5 fires occurred during the pileup. Police are still investigating the scene. An increase of wildfires has been occurring across the United States, some of the worst being seen in Colorado, Texas, and Oklahoma. Oklahoma City law enforcement reported that 10 homes had to be evacuated, but there were no sustained injuries. Texas fires have been burned through almost 200,000 acres of land across the state, although no injuries have been sustained.
I'm going to be issuing a disaster declaration for Medina County. This disaster declaration, it accelerates the capabilities for Medina County to be able to respond to this disaster. It makes available all the state resources that may be needed to respond to this, and it adds to the other counties for which I've already declared a disaster, which altogether will go towards a potential request that we will be making of the federal government for a federal disaster declaration.
Wildfires in Colorado caused evacuations for over 8,000 homes, and officials state people are able to return to homes with an urged sense of alertness. The extreme drought conditions seem to have no improvement as wildfires continue to spread across the United States.
The National Football League's introducing new diversity and inclusion policies for the 2022 season. The NFL is requiring 32 of its teams to employ a, quote, female or a member of an ethnic or racial minority as an offensive assistant. Candidates are required to have a minimum of 3 years of experience in football coaching. All coaches will be rewarded with a 1-year contract with a salary and benefits. The NFL will be reimbursing the teams up to $200,000 for coaches from a league fund. And speaking of sports, let's go to Cam Manna and see what's coming up in sports. Cam?
Well, guys, Bomber Athletics just keep breaking records, but which team is it this time? And we have March Madness highlights to break down, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Newswatch.
Welcome back. We are now joined at the desk by weather anchor Nicole Collins. We saw periods of snow earlier today, but also some sunshine. It seems like that is becoming a normal thing here in Ithaca. Nicole, can you tell us why in the world this is happening?
Yeah, so today the snow this morning was actually lake effect off of the Finger Lakes, and it's not too common. We have to get that wind in a very specific direction from the northwest so that moisture can get up off of the lakes and carried in our direction. And the reason it kind of cleared up later in the afternoon was because that wind shifted direction, came more northerly. So we did see some snow this morning, but not too much in the week ahead. Our temperatures are going to warm up. However, we are going to have to see the cold air for a little bit longer. Tonight, we're only going to see a low of 18 degrees, but we will have some partly cloudy skies. As we look into tomorrow, we will see a bit of a warm front moving through the area. So this will bring with us some rain, but those temperatures will warm up. We're going to finally see a high up into the 40s. Tomorrow night, those clouds remain, but those temperatures stay pretty mild. Our low only getting down into the high 30s. So if you look behind me, you're going to see a system moving across the northern Midwest of the country, and that area of precipitation scooping up into our area is that warm front I was talking about, and then we're going to see a cold front moving through later into Thursday. So after that warm front moves through, we're going to see a high temperature of 66 degrees on Thursday, but watch out for those scattered thunderstorms as that cold front moves in later in the day. Going into Friday, after that cold front moves through, we're going to see temperatures drop. Our high only getting back up into the 40s, our low getting down even into the 20s. That rain will stick around until that system fully moves out of our area on Friday. Getting into Saturday and Sunday, we're going to see that sun finally start to peek through the clouds as that precipitation moves away. Our high on Saturday getting up into the 50s. So very mild, very nice if you want to get outside and do something. Monday and Tuesday, that sun is still out. Those temperatures are still mild. It's a great time to get outside, enjoy those spring temperatures. So that's it for your weekly forecast. Enjoy those good temperatures coming your way.
Thank you for the update, Nicole. Still to come, Cam Manna has your sports updates. Stick with us.
The Ithaca College gymnastics team finished in 4th place at the NCGA National Championships on Saturday afternoon by scoring 192 total points and breaking the previous program record set in 2019. First year, Sky Cohen finished 3rd in the meets all-around competition with 37.9 points, tying her season best in the event. Cohen finished just behind UW-Whitewater's Emily North and Rhode Island College's Olivia Keys. The first year 3rd place finish She also earned All-American honors. Now to Ithaca men's lacrosse. The Bombers were riding their 6-game win streak into the first Liberty League matchup of the season this past weekend. And the only thing that changed was that number went from 6 wins to 7. The Bombers snuck by Clarkson University 11-10 behind Ryan LaForte's 18 saves. Graduate student Connor Brumfield continued to shine in his 2022 campaign, leading the unit with 4 goals on 7 shot attempts. And first-year Kyle Proctor added 2 goals to the back of the net. Ithaca is 8-1 and will face their biggest test of the season in number 14 St. Lawrence this Saturday at 3 p.m. from Higgins Field. Now it's time for some March Madness, and I believe it's still March, so let's talk about it. The Madness has been rich this year on the men's side of the tournament, but also on the women's. Number 1 Louisville looked to punch their ticket to the Final Four last night over number 3 Michigan in the Elite Eight. So let's send it out to Intrust Bank Arena for the action of this one. We start with Michigan in this game. They're down by 3 points, but they go to Maddie Nolan, who sinks her 100th three-pointer to put the score only down by 6. Now we skip ahead to the second quarter. Louisville is still on top, and they capture one of their 15 steals. Chelsea Hall scoring the fast break with the contact. She had 15 points. Now skip ahead to the third quarter. Michigan looking to crawl back. They go back to the sharpshooter, Maddie Nolan. Get her the bounce. It goes. So Michigan crawling back in this game, but the thing Louisville did best was the fast break, keeping the Wolverines out of this one. Down to the rack and the foul is Haley Lindquist. She had 22 points in this game. Louisville, they win this one 62-50, go to their 4th Final Four, and looking to compete for a national championship in the Twin Cities. Guys, March Madness, it has been so exciting so far. Let's talk about some Women's March Madness. Who do you guys have winning it all this year?
I'm going to go with Louisville. I mean, you displayed the highlights so beautifully over there, but I mean, that's a dynamic team. They run the floor up and down, and they know how to get the job done. On to the Final Four. I'm right at Louisville.
We wanted to highlight some of the many acts of kindness that people are showing to support Ukraine. Elementary school students near Atlanta surprised their custodian, Lana Gashenko, who is from Ukraine.
Students showed their support by drawing sunflowers, the country's sign of that all is well at Hope, hanging a blue and yellow flag that stated, "We love you, Mrs. Lana." Gashenko cried tears of joy for an overwhelming amount of love that she had for her students and the support they gave her. And that does it for tonight's episode of Newswatch. Tune in this Thursday for more with Andres Rendon and Jordan Broking. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ICTV News 607.
Thanks for watching and have a good night.